Are you ready?
It's gonna be a hot girl disco summer. I'm never doing that again. I apologize. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Here, let's fix it. Something cool. Are we live? Is this thing on? What's up, Disco Ball Nation? It's your boy, Big Draft Energy. We're about to get weird. But not only are we about to get weird, we're about to get extremely accurate. One of the most accurate fantasy football analysts and predictors has graced our wonderful channel here. Welcome to the show, Frank Ammirante. Please introduce yourself to the channel, and we are loaded and we're ready to rock here. I see a couple Spike Week guys in here too. Shout out to them. But please introduce yourself to the chat. Let them know who you are, what you do, and how they could support you and your incredible content.
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. Last year definitely was not my year, but ready to bounce back. You know, pleasure to be here. I love drafting live on stream. You can find my content for the listeners on a number of sites: Rotoballer, Fantasy Pros, Pro Football Network. I've joined a bunch of them all on my X bio. But, you know, wrapping up draft season, I'm happy to be drafting here with you. You're at pick 4, and I'm right next to you, pick 5.
It's going to be fun. And we got a couple guys from our community who are in here. So Steve-O Speak, he's from the Fan Speak Network. He's more of an underdog guy. He's at the 101. We got Mossy, who's in the chat. He's at the 102.
Good.
Yours truly at the 104. You're at the 105. And then we got Mount Matumbo at the 111. And Eric Bamford, the founder of Spike Week. Shout out to Spike Week. We are big fans of them. He's at the 112. I'm assuming they're live. But yeah, we're here. We're ready to rock. Let's see what we can get popping here. We were talking about a few things prior to going live, and I would love to address this with, you know, obviously the audience and let the audience know. But when I asked you, who do you want on the thumbnail, you said, I want Jackson Smith and Jigba. Can you let the audience know why you want Jackson Smith and Jigba? Because a lot of people in fantasy football industry are out on him, and it's quite the lazy narrative that they are out on him, but nevertheless, they are out on him. So please let the folks know. Oh, you're on the clock. So yeah, but why did you ask for Jackson Smith and Jigba after you make your pick?
All right, so after taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 5, I love that. And I like your boldness with Brian Thomas there. I always love when someone takes a stance. But JSN, really, let's start it like this. All offseason for the Bears, we've been talking about how, you know, we got to get Rome Odunze or even DJ Moore, you know, a mulligan for Shane Waldron because he just didn't call plays probably. Well, what about JSN? Year 1, that's who he had at head coach. And look what he did in his first year without Shane Waldron. Down the stretch, JSN was terrific. Think about that game against the Rams where he just popped off, 2 touchdowns, 170 yards. I think this is just an ascending player, former first-round pick, great college production, and now he's the focal point of the Seahawks passing game. DK Metcalf replaced with Cooper Kupp. That's a downgrade. Cooper Kupp looks like he's on his last legs. And even if Kupp still has stuff left in the tank, I mean, he's not the picture of good health. There's a reasonable chance he misses a couple games. That's even more target share for JSN. I like the fit with Clint Kubiak. Think about how the Saints offense was humming early last season when Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Derek Carr were all healthy together. I think Clint Kubiak's a good head coach. And, you know, I know there's been stuff made about Geno Smith to Darnold. I know Darnold's risky because he had 1 year of, you know, good production, but he's in a similar scheme with Clint Kubiak, Darnold is, because Clint Kubiak comes from the Shanahan coaching tree, just like Kevin O'Connell did.
Exactly.
So I think Darnold could still be, not to that, you know, MVP candidate level in Minnesota, but Darnold could still be a competent quarterback, keeps the offense afloat. JSN, I think, will dominate target share. We talked about this off air, but JSN is going to be moving around more, not just exclusively a slot option. That should increase his average depth of target, his ADOT. More downfield looks mean more chances of spike weeks. And, you know, DK Metcalf gone. We got to think about how much touchdown equity that leaves behind. He's a red zone threat. JSN could be one of their primary red zone threats now. I think he's going to have a career year. I love getting him in the 3rd round. I think he's undervalued there.
I love everything you just said. So, I mean, you kind of touched on it, but there is that lazy narrative where, you know, Cooper Kupp is the slot back and we see Jackson Smith and Jigba constantly being more successful in his usage as a slot. So there's going to be a conflict of interest there. How do you overcome that objection? And how do you pivot off of, those people who are saying, once again, the lazy narrative of fading Jackson Smith and Jigba because either the A dot wasn't there when he aligns up out wide, or because Cooper Kupp is there as a slot and JSN is exclusively a slot. What's your rebuttal for that?
My rebuttal to that is that we can't assume that JSN just exclusively a slot. Like, he's still a young player. He could. Sorry, I'm going to reach a little bit, taking Bucky Irving. So, this is a growing player, and it's not like there's only one player that's going to be entrenched in the slot. Clint Kubiak, as you've mentioned eloquently on Twitter, will move his players around, get them in motion, get them good looks, get them layup targets within the slot. And, like I said, Cooper Kupp, I think, is on the decline. And I think JSN can win a little. He's not going to be like maybe the best on the perimeter, but he could still do enough where he'll still get his slot looks. And I think the projected high target share outweighs that risk for me. He's a young ascending talent.
What it comes down to, and I think you alluded to it earlier when you were talking about how the pre-snap motions will improve his average depth of target, right? When you look at I think it's called a Texas T, where Clint Kubiak runs either two running backs or two tight ends, and he motions down one of the wide receivers. Doesn't matter if he's lined up with the slot or not, because you're always getting that preemptive read on the opposing defenses. You're getting that pre-snap look. You get to see if somebody's traveling. Well, clearly it's a man, and if somebody's not traveling, well, clearly it's some sort of zone, and then you have your zone buster on that. You get more explosives out of that pre-snap motion, which Clint Kubiak has coined and has absolutely specialized. And we've seen it, like you alluded to earlier on down there. So, like, if you give me a little bit of touchdown equity and trade it for a little bit of volume, we're talking about a guy who is going to be a top 15 wide receiver easily, but he's being drafted outside of that range, which is, to me, is absolutely preposterous. This guy has improved every year he's been in the league, no matter the situation in the scenario. He has better play calling. He has better scheme. He has a better run game, especially with a healthy Kenneth Walker playing for the bag, as the kids would call it these days, playing for the bag. It only makes sense that, Jackson Smith and Jigba is somebody that you want to invest in, you want to continue to invest in. I love that you asked for him on the thumbnail and you went ahead and you took your guy. I've been getting him in round 4, and I'm okay with getting him in round 4. I love that click for you. I love that pick for you. And I love that you're standing on business. Let's catch up with the chat, then tell the folks what we're doing and where we're doing it and how they could do it too. But so far, I'm enjoying this conversation. James saw it with the first, and James is the first person to introduce me to Frank. Shout out to James introducing me to Frank last year. James is one of the most incredible humans on the planet. I tell you. Awesome. Bones, what's up, buddy? Thanks for swinging by. Willie says, pumped for today's show. Big fan of Frank's work. Let me know when we're pineapples and for which lobby. I'm so sorry, Willie. He asked for a main. We queued up right before the stream started. I apologize. What's your reload code disco? Okay, so if you guys use disco reload, all caps like that, it is 1,000. It'll match 10% up to $1,000. So essentially, if you deposit $1,000, you'll get $100 free when you use disco reload. It is a limited time only reload code, especially with the 24-hour draftathon coming on. Use it. It's a good one. BK says using it now. Hopefully it worked. Disco, good. What's up, Billy Gableman? Shout out to Billy Gableman from 1 week season. Are you familiar with Billy's work?
I haven't seen. Sorry, I was looking at my pick. I haven't seen yet, but I'd love to.
Billy Gableman's one of the sharpest best ball minds on the planet. I need to make the introduction because you're just one of the sharpest fantasy football minds on the planet. And you're two of my favorite guys, favorite content creators. So I definitely need to make the introduction. You guys are both tremendous. Shout out to Billy Gableman in 1 week season. Shout out to my business partner, Sleez Bomb, with the Sleez raid. Appreciate you, dog. Good to see you.
Oh, damn, sniped. Sorry.
Who?
I wanted DJ Moore there.
You wanted DJ Moore?
Yeah.
Well, just don't snipe me on my guy.
Damn. What am I gonna do now?
You're definitely gonna take my guy. If you don't take my guy, I'm gonna be really happy.
Oh, you know what? I gotta do it. I'm on your show. I gotta do it. I got to do it because, hey, you're higher than anyone on Xavier Worthy. You know, it's too fitting. Like, I like him. I'm not, pounding the table to go draft Worthy, but, I love how you take bold stances. You're not afraid to rank players way different than consensus. So I respect your opinion, and I'm going to see if that works out in your bullish take on Worthy. So let's go with him round 4.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you why. And if you guys want to watch my top 5 ROI players, I just recorded that video. I just posted that video. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Worthy are both on that list because I anticipate that they are going to give you tremendous return on investment at their current ADP. One of the reasons why I'm so bullish on Xavier Worthy, obviously with the Rashee Rice news, with him playing the first 4 weeks, I'm also not worried about that because you cannot be Andy Reid and that offensive coaching staff and see what Xavier Worthy did in that Rashee Rice role last year down the stretch and be like, oh, I'm just not going to use him in that role anymore because that doesn't make sense. He was absolutely effective. He was elusive. He was explosive, and he was absolutely phenomenal. He was a top 12 wide receiver down the stretch when it mattered the most in your fantasy football playoffs. And if you look at what Patrick Mahomes and Xavier Worthy had last year, and here's what makes me the most bullish, is for 40-plus yard attempts, Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 18 times for 40-plus yard attempts, 16 of which were to Xavier Worthy, 2 connected. On all 18 pass attempts of 40-plus yards, Patrick Mahomes was hurried and hit by a defender, a pass rusher coming from his blind side. That was because Joe Tooney, left guard, by the way, and Garbage were protecting his blind side. That is no longer the case. And I understand the lazy narrative that, he's supposed to be this wonderful off-rhythm passer of the football. But like nobody who is a good off-rhythm passer of the football can throw the ball accurately 40-plus yards. So insert Josh Simmons, who was my favorite offensive tackle in this entire class. The only reason why he fell to 31 to the Kansas City Chiefs was because he had that injury early on for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Had he not gotten hurt, he would have been a top 10 pick, top 5 pick easily, and he would be the number 1 tackle in this class. All reports, especially if you follow 32 beat reporters, are indicating that he is locked in, ready to go. He is beating people up. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 5 left tackle in the NFL this year, and I wouldn't be shocked if PFF has him as a top 5 left tackle at the end of the year as well. You give Patrick Mahomes time to connect. You give Patrick Mahomes that revenge tour narrative. You got that deep ball 4.21 speed. Xavier Worthy's going to be cooking, man. I've had people laugh at me before for crazy takes, and I'm okay with it. But I believe his floor is top 10. I'm even bold enough to say I believe his floor, and I know the difference between floor and ceiling. I believe his floor is top 5 in the NFL just because of the explosive play aspect.
Well, I like what you said about how they really couldn't connect downfield, and you can't really expect that type of poor rate in conversion in those downfield looks to continue. Like 2 for, what was it? You said 2 for 18. You got to think.
So he had 2 attempts to 2 completions to Xavier Worthy out of 16.
So 2 for 16. Yeah. So even if that improves only a little bit, you're looking at a way better rookie season. And we saw Worthy do well in those, manufactured underneath targets down the stretch last year. And clearly the Chiefs really want to get back to that downfield passing, and Worthy's the forefront of that. So yeah, I'm fine with this price. I'm not as excited as you are, but I think he could still be, high-end receiver 2 with upside for more.
I respect that. I think another thing that a lot of people are sleeping on is the second half of the season. Xavier Worthy was averaging 7 yards after the catch. You look at 7 yards after the catch, that's explosive as it gets. I mean, that's more explosive than Brian Thomas Jr., who averaged 6.8, more explosive than Jamar Chase, who averaged 6.3. Like he was there, and he was Caleb Johnson. Shout out to Derek Brown. He's making me get more Caleb Johnson. I'll continue to get more Caleb Johnson. What's up, Husko? Good to see you, buddy. Sleez Raid says James Saw. What's up, Mossy Disco? I see you, baby boy, at the 102. I love the Trey McBride click. I was hoping he'd come back. I should have known better. Sleaze Ball Raid says Husko. Couple Canucks CA. What's up, Willie? Good to see you, eh? That Bull Rush picture is so straight. Is it actually? I didn't hang it up. You did, babe. Shout out to Bull Rush, by the way. Sleaze Raid. Sup, all you amazing, beautiful people. What's up, Dennis? Disco, hi. What's up, Bones? Good to see you, brother. We have Frank in the house. Frank is a legend, James. Frank is great, and I'm enjoying this conversation so far. Big draft. What's up, Jamie Parag? It was awesome seeing you again at the Fantasy Football Expo. And I thought it was really cool that you found Harold Fannon's mother and uncle at
that's sick.
the party that we were at the expo. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool, especially since, you know, they're from Canton, which I didn't know. What draft is this? This is the Drafters $2.5 million main. It's a $20 entry, 500,000 goes to first, $2.5 million in total prizes. Use promo code DISCO to double your first deposit, dollar for dollar, up to $100 Rooskies. And like I told you about my stand on Xavier Worthy, right? Everybody has that one guy that they're in on more than, you know, the rest of the planet and the rest of the world. Who is your? I wanted Patrick Mahomes, but I realized I don't have Worthy. Who is your stand? Who is your guy this year?
For me, I would have said JSN, but we already spoke about him, so I'm going to add other players. I love Emeka Egbuka. You know, polished receiver. I think he can make an immediate impact for the Bucks. Obviously, Godwin is not fully healthy. Going to miss a couple weeks from all indications. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes here now to pair him with Worthy.
Yeah, you broke my heart taking Matthew Golden there too. You're just taking my guys, and it's devastating. Like Golden was another person in that top 5 ROI clicks. So,
I love that. Speaking of Golden, like earlier in draft season, I was getting more Jaden Reed. I just like Jaden Reed. I like the talent. But then Golden keeps doing well, and all these positive reports out of camp. Reed is banged up now. Golden's playing into receiver, so I need more Golden, and I'm happy to get him there. But back to my guy, it's like Egbuka, you know, Godwin's still not healthy. Even when he comes back, is Godwin even going to look the same? Mike Evans has been great, but Mike Evans is 32. Is it crazy to think that he can start to decline and then Egbuka really asserts himself as one of the top targets in a pass-heavy offense that should be in plenty of shootouts because their defense really isn't much to write home about?
Have you been reading my articles, Frank? Get out of my head.
Egbuka, like, even at his increased price, which is what, like 6th round now? Did he go tonight? Yeah. I'm still in. Like, it's a high upside shot on a player who, if he hits, like, he'll be that type of volume target earner, not like a boomer bust deep threat. That's the way he profiles more as a prospect. So I'm really in on Egbuka.
Yeah, so coming into the process, Egbuka was probably my favorite prospect. I just loved the landing spot of Houston more than I loved his current landing spot. I do love Higgins. I love Higgins in Houston a lot. But going back to Matthew Golden, I just like everything you said about Emeka Egbuka has been bang on. Like the Chris Godwin scenario, I knew it was worse than people would give credence to because he took a $22 million discount to stay in Tampa, and that's not because he likes the tax laws and tax regulations and how forgiving they are when it comes to taxing. It's because he just knew he wasn't going to be right for an entire season. So that's why he took the $22 million discount. And you nailed it on the head, man. Mike Evans has had soft tissue issues, words are not wording, with his left hamstring now for 2 years in a row. And you alluded to it. Once again, hit it on the head. This is why I like you. 32 years old. He's bound to decline. Obviously, we've been saying it every year, and it hasn't happened yet. But there's a reason why they invested in Emeka Egbuka this year. And I think Jalen McMillan's also a fantastic click in best ball formats. He is criminally underrated. And we know that both Godwin and Mike Evans are going to inevitably miss time. So both of them are absolutely spectacular clicks. And that's why Cade Otton's also one of my most owned tight ends, because if you look at the splits when both of those guys weren't out there, Cade Otton was definitely invested in. As for Baker Mayfield, I am anticipating a regression season for him because, I mean, you cannot be as efficient and explosive as you have been, where you've overcome pretty much every expectation and outperformed all of your expected touchdowns and production significantly, and expect that to consistently occur. There's a couple guys who I love in that offense. Baker's not one of them, and I apologize. Bucky's not one of those guys either. I think his price point and his ADP is way too inflated. But as for Matthew Golden, I talked about it on my video again earlier today. Him, Worthy, Drake London, Brian Thomas Jr., just 4 guys who I need to leave every draft with as much as possible, because that's where you're going to get the greatest ROI from the wide receiver position. You look at what he did in Texas, and, you know, forget about 25 plus yard reception or play every game his last year he was in Texas. Forget about that. You know, even though Jordan Love was injured last year, he was still top 5 in every explosive passing category that you want in a quarterback and a deep passer. Forget that that's a perfect marriage. Matthew Golden is absolutely special after the catch. He's somewhere between Xavier Worthy and Tyreek Hill, and I'm not exaggerating. He's going to be absolutely spectacular. And I'll go out on a limb and say that Matthew Golden will outperform every rookie drafted this year in fantasy football.
Ooh, I like you're just firing the bold takes. I love it. As you know what else I love? Not that I'm huge on this player, but with Mahomes and Worthy on this best ball team, getting Kelsey 15 picks past ADP is music to my ears.
Yeah, he's my tight end 5 this year. So you are having a draft, my friend. And like typically I don't advise to start with a robust RB start like you did. But God, you're nailing your draft right now. And it's a beautiful sight to see.
I know what you're saying, because like you could really fall behind in receiver, especially in best ball full PPR like this. I know you don't like Bucky, which I'll touch on in a bit, but like look at the receiver room. JSN, Worthy, Waddle, and Golden. That's pretty still good considering I passed on them in the first 2 rounds.
That's not good. That's elite, man. That's absolutely incredible. You're getting positive return on investment with every one of those players. They're all fade candidates and they're all buy candidates, in my opinion. I love what you're doing with this draft, and I'm not just kissing your ass because you're killing your draft. It's really, really good. Yeah. Hopefully Mossy doesn't take another tight end that I want here because this LG96 guy he's got to be auto picking, right? Because he has Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta, both week 8 buys, kind of a bully tight end start. So if I'm reading the room correctly, and I believe I am, Tyler Warren should fall to me here.
Yeah, I love Tyler Warren.
That's a good pick. Yeah, Tyler Warren, I was in on him before the combine. I was in on him before the college football season ended. I was in on him before he got all the hype. I don't know if you know this about me, but 2 years ago, I called Sam Laporta as my tight end 1 as a rookie in May. Ooh. After he got drafted. I know, once again, we make a lot of bold calls. I called Brian Thomas Jr. last year as a top 10 wide receiver, smashed that call. Drake London, top 10, Chase Brown, top 10, James Cook, top 10, called all those. They all hit. We always call crazy calls. I mean, my craziest call was probably Zamir White. We missed that one, but you're bound to miss every now and then. Tyler Warren was a guy who, when I looked at his game and I look at the landing spot, it makes complete sense. And not only is he one of the better pass catchers on that Indianapolis Colts offense, he's probably the best quarterback they have there as the Wildcat as well. So I'm all in on Tyler Warren. I think there's going to be a lot of ways for him to score, and I think he's going to do it with volume. And I don't know about the touchdown equity, but I know he's going to do it with volume. All right, we got to keep catching up with the chat because I'm loving this conversation. How's it going, fellas? I'm finally in one of your fast drafts. Good to see you, Steve. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for committing to the 24-hour Draftathon. By the way, folks, the GoFundMe for the Draftathon is live, and I believe that it is in the link in the description. The link is in the description, and we already got our first donation. This 24-hour charity event is not until next Saturday. It's a 24-hour fundraiser for local hospice and palliative care, but we already got our first charitable contribution. Shout out to Ezra. You are the man, man. You are the man, man. Evening, Mrs. Disco says, James, who's goat? It's Drafters Best Ball. Got you. Thanks, James. Okay. Because JSN is a beast. Hell yeah, Jamie. 2 Canadians. Hey, what's up, Zillius? Good to see you, brother. I hope you're having a fantastic time. Frank, I wish you were at the expo this year, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have missed it. It just I couldn't make it this time.
Yeah, it was a really good time, a spectacular time. James said Frank with an awesome breakdown. Yeah, he's bringing his A game. He always does, though. Hey, James, can we talk Raiders wide receiver room? Oh, God. Okay, you know what, BK? We can talk Raiders wide receiver room. So how is this Raiders wide receiver room going to play out for you?
Well, Jacoby Myers, is that safe, dependable, not flashy, but let's say in a drafters context, because we're drafting right now, like something that I had where I went RB, I want someone who I know can give a floor that I can round out my receiver room. Jacoby Myers makes some sense.
The ultimate glue guy.
Yeah, he's a glue guy. Not someone who's gonna, kill it for you. He's just a dependable, asset. And then the rookies, you can take a shot on them. Like Thornton's got size and speed. These are all best ball picks. Jack Betch or Beck.
Yeah, it's like Tyler Shuck. I don't know. Yeah.
Let me think here. I don't know who to pick. Damn. I don't really like ET. This one's tough for me. Okay, this is going to be kind of a reach, but he makes sense on my team. So I'm going to do it.
Get your gun.
Jordan.
I love that for you. That's a good click. All right, we're going to take
The only reason I took Love way above ADP, I didn't like the others on the board really. No one stood out. And I have Golden. If Golden, hits heights that you're talking about, like he just outscores every rookie receiver, I think it was you said. Well, that means Love is probably back to 2023 form where he was QB5 in points per game.
Correction, I didn't say every rookie wide receiver.
Oh, not every rookie. It was one of the. It was
every rookie, even the running backs.
Oh, every rookie. Okay, damn. All right, I love that. So then, if that happens, Love definitely gets to 2023 form. So I wanted someone, to pair with one of my receivers. So it is a bit of a reach because there's other quarterbacks there, Drake May, for example, who have similar upside, but I'm trying to build a stack for this best ball tournament.
Well, I love the correlation that you're building. You have a Green Bay correlation, and I have Green Bay going to the Super Bowl. You have the Patrick Mahomes revenge tour correlation, so I love that. But if I'm not going to tell you how to draft because obviously you're your own man and you're going to draft how you want to draft. But if I was you personally, I would stop at 2 quarterbacks because you got 2 quarterbacks, and then I would try to get Tucker Kraft in this mix. And
no, I wanted him. He's off the board. I was upset
already.
About that. Yeah.
Oh, Eric took him. Okay, makes sense.
I wanted Tucker Kraft. I'm gonna do this for now.
Yeah, Eric's a very, very sharp drafter. He's one of the greatest drafters on the planet. And I don't know if you're familiar with Spike Week tools, but it just makes drafting so much easier because it just puts everything right there. Whatever information you want based off of correlation, not just your correlation, but correlation and starts that other people have, you could get it all with Spike Week, and it's incredibly affordable too. Do we trust JSN to be the wide receiver one, or is he better wide receiver being the number 2 guy? Him being moved around, JSN won't have any issues with being that wide receiver one. Is he ready? Hey man, I honestly, it's about time that they got rid of all the garbage, the terrible offensive play calling last year. DK Metcalf, who was on a decline, and it just makes sense that he's going to be the guy. And a lot of people are worried about Sam Darnold, and so am I. But I love the contingency plan of Jalen Milroe, and I'm not worried about the quarterback situation there because I believe both quarterbacks are an upgrade from Geno Smith.
Yeah, and for me, I just think, JSN, look at his college numbers and think about how his teammates spoke. Garrett Wilson said JSN was the best of all of those Ohio State receivers.
Better than London, better than Olave, better than Garrett. He said he was better than all.
Obviously, players say a lot of things. We're not going to just take everything they say like, oh, that must be true. But look at the numbers. I mean, it's possible that it is. And then he just – if maybe JSN didn't have Shane Waldron in year 1 and he had competent coaching from the get-go, he'd be thought of a little more highly than he is. So
didn't JSN have a hand injury in preseason?
Too, he was injured in his first season.
Yeah. So I mean, we've just seen him ascend, and he's going to continue ascend, and I don't anticipate that's going to end anytime soon. James says, Frank, why weren't you? Sleez says, Frank, why weren't you at the expo?
So I was there the last 3 years, and then this year, the previous 3 summers, I didn't really take a big, vacation before. This time I did. I was in Italy for a while. It's expensive. The expo trip kind of adds up, especially when you go out every night and stuff late at night. So I decided to pass, but next year I'll be back.
Makes sense. Sleez also says code disco reload. Sleez offered Frank to drive him. He had other plans next year.
It wasn't even other plans. Just I wouldn't want him to do that. That's nice of him, but for James. But
thank you for the reload. You are very welcome, Mount Mutombo. Wait, Mahomes is still. Listen, the value you're getting Patrick Mahomes at is the best value you will ever get any player in fantasy football history. Period. You don't have to agree with that. It's not a hot take. It's just my beliefs. People are down on Mahomes because of weak, poor stats in the last 2 years. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's silly. And I know you're being facetious, but I'm still going to add to the fact that it's stupid and silly. No, Dennis, we're staying for fantasy. Gotcha. Is Tyreek going back there? I don't know about that. I don't think Tyreek's going anywhere. Like Isaiah Bond just signed with Cleveland. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That's wild. Quinshon Judkins is going to be all right. That locker room, like Watson, Bond, Quinshon Judkins. I mean, shit. I will say this: being in Canton after Shador Sanders did what Shador Sanders did, the people in Canton believe that Shador is like the second coming of Jesus. They are all in on
Oh
Shador. They
wow.
absolutely love him. The people, like, you can ask Sleez. We were at like I don't know what it's called, but there's like a random American store where you could buy, just a bunch of random stuff. It's kind of like the equivalent of our like our winners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the equivalent of our winners. And we were there. We were just doing a little bit of shopping, and this lady came up to me, and I was wearing a Cam Newton Patriots jersey of all jerseys,
Mhm.
and she said, she's like, whose jersey is that? I said, it's Cam Newton, ma'am. And then she actually sounded like that. She's like, did you see that Shador? He is so good. That boy is going to bring us a championship. That older lady,
Wow.
I love that about America, because everybody is so football centric. We don't get that here.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
do
buying
like.
or selling Brees Hall in Dynasty? Neither, Jake from State Farm. If I have Brees Hall, I am holding, and if I don't have Brees Hall, I am not buying. And the only reason why I would hold essentially is because I believe there's going to be a sell high window, and I'm going to capitalize and take advantage of that sell high window. But that's just dynasty. In my opinion, running backs are always a depreciating asset, and if you can sell them high at an all-time high, by all means do that. That's why I'm not really buying him. I much rather buy a future running back with draft capital, or a running back who is underperforming currently this year and taking advantage of that. What about yourself? Are you buying or selling Brees Hall in Dynasty?
Okay, that's a good question because I don't like Brees Hall in redrafts. I think they'll have more of a committee this year. Not to say it's a full-blown committee, but like he's not going to be this bell cow. I don't think Braylon Allen will factor in, and I think Braylon Allen will take away some red zone carries. I don't see the same kind of receiving upside for Brees Hall, even with Justin Fields checking down at a high rate, just because that offense is going to be really run heavy. So even though Justin Fields checks down, like his check down rate is high, like they don't pass a lot, so it doesn't mean as much. And the Jets are going to be one of the lowest scoring offenses. So you have a guy that may lose some red zone carries and has a capped receiving upside. And he didn't really look that good down the stretch last year, Brees Hall. So I don't like him in redraft. But if he got traded or went to a new place with a new landing spot, that would, like you said, open up maybe a sell high opportunity. To me, the short answer to sum it up, I'd probably try to still trade Brees Hall now because there's still some allure with him. And then if he disappoints this year, his price would probably really go down. So I would make the move.
Can I ask you a question? Because I'm a proponent of drafting Brees Hall at his ADP and expecting, a fair to positive return on investment where he's going in round 4. Um, can I ask you something? What scheme is the new head coach Aaron Glenn coming from?
Yeah, from the Lions. So you think he's going to be used like Gibbs?
It's not that I think he's going to be used like Gibbs. I know it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. And both of those
Yeah.
running backs were used very heavy. And then you look at what a defensive coordinator as a head coach does. Did you just get sniped?
Yeah, I was going to take Judkins there. It looked like people were forgetting. And I even forgot. We could have took him earlier than 14 even.
Hate when that happens. Going back to my point, you look at what a head coach who was a former defensive coordinator, you look at what they do. They're a big proponent of playing solid defense, playing field position, and controlling the time of possession. You're going to get a lot of rushing opportunity for both of them, and I think both of them are going to be very viable fantasy football plays. And there's going to be weeks where either one of them spikes, and I'm always going to sell high on the guy who spikes because people are very, very receptive to that kind of information. So I'm not selling Brees yet because I don't think this is your sell high window, and I never, ever, ever sell low. Okay, I always never buy. I never buy high. So, yeah, I would hold Brees if I have him. I wouldn't trade for him though. In Dynasty Year. What's up, Disco? What's up, AP? Good to see you, brother. Selling Brees Hall in every format. If there's any buyers, I don't think there's any buyers. Him and Cortland Sutton, I don't think there's many buyers for those guys. I feel like I'll trade him and then he'll go to Chiefs or Cowboys. I mean, if you do that, I would appreciate it because I have a couple of Brees shares that I can't do anything with. He's going to be going to a different team, and we saw what happened with Saquon. True. Brees Hall is not Saquon Barkley. True. Agreed, but he's still totally really talented. I love Brees. It's hard for me to sell. I'm all I'm saying is just hold. Never sell any asset when they're at an all-time low. And I believe this is an all-time low for Brees Hall. And he did finish the season last year as an injured asset. I could be wrong though. Are you related to him or something? No, just like him, the same way with Chubb. Oh, God bless Chubb. I'm not talking about him. All right. Do we have any fantasy football questions that I've missed? Wandale Robinson, come on down. You're the next contestant on the BDE fantasy football team. I love this lineup so far. It's a little bit different, but I'm liking it. Shit. Holy crap. Shout out to Smash, except that is Dynasty Dad, fantasy football dad. Dynasty Dad, if you guys are not familiar with his work, he is the Dynasty Godfather. He's the Dynasty Savant. Everybody knows who he is. He is one of the greatest writers and just one of the greatest people. He said, Big Draft Energy is the GOAT. Sorry I missed your DM. Brother, never apologize for missing my DM. Thank you for swinging by and saying hi and showing some love, man. I need you on the 24-hour draftathon. That's how you make it up to me, brother. We need you there. Did we schedule time, you and I, for the 24-hour charity event?
Oh, I don't think we did. I just said I'll be on.
Yeah, I know you said that when we announced. We'll figure out the schedule and the timing later.
It's next weekend, right?
Next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern time to Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be grueling. It's gonna be terrible, but it's also gonna be one of the best experiences. Last year was crazy, out of this world. We did a good job raising money. This year, we're just gonna try to build more relationships. The cast we have this year is just absurd. Like, we got all three major faces from Fantasy Pros this year, which is nuts. Shout out to all those amazing guys. Scott Fish is coming back, Sal Leto, yourself. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Hey bro, just FYI, no one has approached me at Winners and wanted to talk to me about the Calgary Stampeders and the CFL. Amen. Nobody's done that to me either about the Ottawa. What's Ottawa's teams?
The Renegades?
No, that was the team that.
Oh, the Red Blacks.
Red Blacks, the Ottawa Red Blacks. Yeah, where are you again? You're in Toronto.
Like, I grew up there. Now I'm in London, Ontario.
Okay, but so you're kind of what, between Argos and Tiger Cats?
I never really followed it, but my dad is a big Argos guy.
Makes sense. Okay, Brees and Kamara getting traded this year. Brees to Dallas and Kamara to Titans. Some wild imaginations you guys have. Some wild imaginations. I think best case scenario for Brees is to go somewhere like, in my opinion, like a KC. I would love to see Brees to go to KC or to Washington. Those are the two best landing spots for Brees for me to want to buy him. There are no other situations and scenarios where Brees could go that he would be an immediate buy. Maybe Chicago. Chicago would also be a fantastic landing spot for him. Where do you see Brees going if he was to be traded? And I don't like talking about him being traded because I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to be fine this year.
If I have to pick, I think I'd go Chicago Bears. You know, I know they didn't. They wanted. The rumors stated they wanted Trevion Henderson in the draft. They got sniped. They didn't really get anyone else. But I think it's not like they love, DeAndre Swift. So they can easily upgrade there, and they've really prioritized beefing up that offense. Caleb Williams' best chance to succeed. So I'd say the Bears if Brees Hall got traded.
I respect it. We'll take Kate Otten here and be done at tight end. I'm liking what I'm doing with this draft. I love what I'm doing with this draft. It's not my best draft. It's not my worst draft. But, I mean, you took literally three of my favorite guys. So kind of had to pivot. James says,
yeah.
Frank, sorry, what were you asking?
So I was going to say James's question. I can't miss any of James's question. He's the man.
Yeah, he said, Frank, who are you writing for this season? Which team company have you joined for this fantasy football season?
I basically write for several, like Rotoballer, Fantasy Pros, Pro Football Network. Have a bit with Fantasy Six Pack. Probably going to freelance a little bit for the game. Basically, a million sites. So you'll see all on Twitter.
I love that. And I was speaking to Greg Kellogg, First Ballot Sports Writer Association Hall of Famer, and he said he writes his articles and he has his exclusive rights to his articles, so he could literally just post it anywhere and everywhere he wants. and he doesn't let the sites have the exclusivity. Is that similar to kind of like your deal?
No. For me, it's just basically, trying to get as much work on my plate as possible, and I write for, like, they assign tasks and I write them.
Well, have you ever decided to, because you were a former teacher, a lot of people don't know your story. So Frank you were a former teacher, correct?
Yeah.
And then you decided to become incredibly successful at fantasy football and just sports books
Well,
in general.
well, yeah, I did a lot of fantasy written content, then it went to betting, and then it went to even like the promotional stuff, like sportsbook reviews, casino reviews, all that kind of stuff. Makes it easier to do like a full-time remote job where you're writing. And now I have another writing job where it's more editing full-time in the day with like, it's like a marketing company that they run 2 sites, and they let me freelance too. So it's pretty good setup for me because it allows me to continue doing the fantasy content that I want while having also remote work full-time at home.
Well, have you ever thought about doing like bridging the gap for people who are, they're new to the game, they love the game, but they just don't know how to get started? Like, have you ever thought about bridging the gap and doing like a fantasy football for dummies seminar? I feel like with your history as an educator and somebody
Well,
who
that'd be cool.
dominates in this history, I think that would be a fun little thing for you to do. But then again, I don't know.
That's a that's a cool idea.
I like that idea. Fantasy football for dummies. Frank knows. Don't give all my Brees secrets away. Hold on, let me do the Sleazeball magic fingers. He always does the magic fingers. It's weird.
Marshawn Lloyd.
I like that click.
Look how.
We'll take Jarquez Hunter here. I think we're done at running back here on my end. I love this team. And I love that I double tapped both Brees Hall and Braylon Allen. So I protected rushing offense that I think will be fantastic. Does it limit my ceiling? Slightly, but it increases my floor. And like you alluded to earlier, it's nice to have a glue guy. And I believe double tapping a running back room in a 1A, 1B scenario like the New York Jets is a great glue scenario for your running backs. Lions don't really have a mobile quarterback. True. You are expecting fair on Brees. Hit the stand on business. LOL. That's the first time we've heard that backtrack. I mean, fair and positive return on investment is what I said. I like Brees. Brees is better in his own scheme, and that changed with the new regime. Thanks, guys. Brees is still only 24. Tell him. And he was hurt down the stretch, man. Like, you look at everywhere Brees Hall has been. He has been in college. He was one of the most explosive top producers in terms of fantasy points per touch. His first year prior to the injury, one of the most explosive players in terms of fantasy points per touch. Year 2 in the NFL, coming off of the injury, one of the most explosive players in fantasy points per touch. Last year was a down year, and I believe it was part of a knee injury that not a lot of people give a lot of credence to. You also pair that with the fact that maybe it's not the Jets that he's going to be playing for a contract, but he is in a contract year, and running backs historically in a contract year typically outperform and play through a lot of shit. So I'm in on the Brees Hall season. I'm in on any running back in a contract scenario and situation. There's a couple of them that I'm very bullish on, and a couple of them that I'll continue to be bullish on. Do you give any credence to the whole running back in contract situation scenario in terms of running backs investing?
Yeah, I like contract year with any sport, really. I mean, it's the human element. They were playing for a new contract. They have an added chip on their shoulder. They want to, get that, especially for running back, who they don't get paid as much as other skill positions. They're trying to get that bag, and Brees Hall saw it in that quote talking about James Cook and I think Kyron Williams getting new contracts. Brees Hall's like, yeah, I feel like I'm on their level, but I haven't proven enough yet. So he's clearly motivated for a big season. I don't really like the situation. I think he needs a change of scenery.
Yeah, I love the situation. I love the scenery. I love everything about it. I'm in on Brees this year, but as a dynasty asset, I cannot recommend getting him. He's not a dynasty target for me. If I do have him in dynasty, I'm going to wait until that sell high window comes, and I'm going to sell him to the most desperate person and individual. But I agree to disagree once again. Although if I trade Brees Hall, I can get Genty. It's an auction league. I don't know how auctions work. Are you familiar with auctions?
Yeah, so you just players are there and you put a bid and then people bid them up.
Yeah, but I don't understand how he could trade and he can get Genty in an auction league. I know how the auction works, but I don't know
sorry.
what the trades was.
Stupid
Is it
answer.
like an auction dynasty? Is that what you're saying? I
Yeah,
don't get it.
maybe the other person's willing to trade Genty for Hall, and maybe Hall costs a little more. No, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Camaro will retire in New Orleans.
Okay.
Roni Baloney is still one of the greatest names on YouTube I've ever seen. We have 107 people watching us both on X and on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. We like to get weird here. We like to have spectacular, wonderful guests like my good friend here, Frank. If you guys head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel and you're watching us on X, we'd really appreciate that, guys. Any and all support is free. It means a lot and it helps us a heck of a lot. So come over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, smash the subscription. Oh, we're on the clock again. We're rounding out our draft. Amari Cooper, because why the hell not? He's going to find a team. Okay, let's catch up with the chat before we look at the lineups. Pollard is going to have a good year, I think. Speaking of the Titan, I think that running room in general is another one where it's a 1A, 1B situation. I need a little bit more clarification on the Tajay Spears injury. I do like Khalil Mullings as a good stash in a dynasty as a taxi play. Frank does it all, smart better as well. I know he's a smart better. He's a good better. AO, what's up, AMG? Good to see you. Love that Braylon stack. It's a good call. Hear me out. Brees Hall's career trajectory is Javonte Williams. JK, I'm done with the Brees hate. That's fine. It's still Brees Hall's trajectory is still better than Travis Hunter's will ever be. Just putting that out there. Where are you on Travis Hunter, by the way? Because a lot of people are like Travis Hunter truthers and diehards, and a lot of people just
I've warmed up to him a little bit because when he was going, I'd see on underdog like 4th round. That's too much for me.
Yeah,
I'm cool with him like in the 6th, the early 6th. There may be like I see the upside. It's just that you got to build your roster in a way to insulate yourself against Hunter's risk because we just don't know his full usage. So like that's what I did in another league. I have like Igbuka. I have a stacked receiver group with like Jefferson, Pickens, Harrison. On that team, I was fine with having Hunter because I have like a deep receiver room.
I mean, if you're looking at teams and just like the total implied point totals in the sports books, Jacksonville Jaguars have the highest implied point total game schedule by 2 games over 45 points than any other team. So I don't mind Hunter, but I feel like the value is way too inflated, and like I'm not willing to pay the price in Dynasty, and I'm definitely not willing to pay the price right now either. So, okay, we got that one. Salary cap Dynasty with contracts. That's interesting. Auction Dynasty with contracts. Interesting. I'll have a budget with trading Brees. Good show. Good stuff, boys. Go draft. Got a draft right now. Catch you tomorrow. All right, sounds good. Now, before we look at the lineups and keep the conversation going, and we're going to, if you guys are not familiar with our show and what we do, at the end of the draft, we always look at everybody from the community's lineups. We give them grades, we give them advice, and we keep them moving and we break down our lineups. But before we do that, we got to give a great shout out to one of our spectacular sponsors, Bull Rush. And you and I can talk about Bull Rush as well because you're also familiar with the concept. So shout out to Bull Rush. Here's a quick little snippet.
What's up, folks? Big Draft Energy here from Football Heaven, Canton, Ohio, and I'm here with Bull Rush. And football is back, and it's better than ever. We got 20 weeks of pure chaos. It's going to be a huge 100K NFL Survivor Tournament. Make sure you guys sign up today on bullrush.com. Get on the action. Let's get weird. What's up?
Make sure you guys use promo code theguyzff to get $5 off. It is a 100K Survivor Tournament. It's absolutely spectacular, and they're one of our key sponsors of the entire Big Draft Energy 24-hour Draftathon. So shout out to those guys. They're absolutely spectacular. Steve Shop says, fun draft, guys. Sorry I couldn't really chat. I had to grab dinner before my show. Hope you guys had a good one. I'll catch you later. No worries, Steve. We'll start with your lineup. All right. So I'll read out the lineup. You give feedback, and then we go back and forth based off of the feedback, and we always finish with a grade. And as a teacher, a former teacher, obviously A+ is the best, and the F is as bad as it gets. And you have to be honest because your integrity as a former educator is here. So I love that this worked out perfectly because this is what we do after every draft. It's kind of like Yahoo. You know how you got like one of those You know, the higher your draft grade, usually the worse the team does. That's pretty much what I do as well. So Steve O Speak goes 3683. He goes with your standard vanilla gorilla missionary roster construction. He goes Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Joe Flacco, Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson. I like your first two running backs a lot. Tony Pollard, Tyler Algier, good handcuff click. Taj Brooks, Miles Sanders, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins double stacked with Joe Burrow. Jerry Judy as his wide receiver 3. Jaden Higgins. This is an underdog draft. Jaden Higgins, Marvin Mims, Demario Douglas, whom I love. So I don't know if you're familiar with my Demario Douglas. Like I'm a Demario Douglas truther. I think his floor is 100 receptions this year. But yeah, we could get back to that. Don't worry. Hollywood Brown, Josh Reynolds. I love the reaction. TJ Hawkinson, Chigozimo Konku, Jatavian Sanders. What do you think? Give me the breakdown of the roster. There's a little bit stuck with Justin Herbert and Omarion Hampton that I didn't mention, but please go.
Okay, so I think it's smartly built because I like, first of all, Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Then you got Herbert with Omarion Hampton. Yeah, I know it's a QBRB. You don't really stack that generally, but if Hampton's doing well, that means the offense is probably doing well, which obviously means Herbert is probably doing well. So I like that combo there. And it was smart that when you got Judy, you also got Flacco. Like, I know Flacco is nothing spectacular, but, you know, you can tell yourself a story. What if Flacco plays like he did 2 years ago for the Browns and they play, you know, decently and he starts more than expected and Judy just keeps it going from last year. So it's smartly built in that sense. I also like how, like, for me, I'm not huge on Hampton in fantasy, and Henderson I do like, but I like how he backed those up with Tony Pollard, a veteran who's, you know, going to get a heavy workload, especially early in the season with Tyjae Spears dealing with a high ankle sprain. And then, you know, you got those lottery ticket handcuffs, Algier, Taj Brooks. And then, hey, Miles Sanders, maybe his role is bigger than we all think. Worth a shot that late in the draft. What else? Tight ends, Hawkinson. I like McCarthy, and I like Okonkwo and Sanders with two ascending young quarterbacks. Honestly, even though the running, like, I like it, it's well built, B+. Smartly built, put together.
I would say from a roster construction, it's incredibly done. It is done to a T. I love the full correlation with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but you got to look at it this way, right? If you're drafting at the 101 and you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow, I want to say almost 70% of the drafts that we see done all leave with that combination there. So what are you doing to stand out against the rest of the mold? And I think you did an incredible job. One, not really reaching too high on Joe Burrow. I would have preferred it if it felt to you, but if you're making that investment, it makes sense to complete the stack. But to also go with 3 QB builds and increasing your upside with other sort of stacks and correlations. I don't love the depth at wide receiver because you essentially have 2 wide receivers from the same room that you've invested the early capital on. And then there's a significant teardrop. And I believe Jerry Jeudy, and this is where the player takes come in. I believe Jerry Jeudy's one of the biggest traps in fantasy football this year. And he's in a major avoid, especially at his ADP for me. Love Jaden Higgins, but then you just got a bunch of guys who could spike, right? And I do love Demario Douglas. I think his floor is 100 receptions, but I mean, that's just me. Jatavian Sanders, TJ Hawkinson. This is a good lineup. I'm going to give this a solid B. It's just because there's way too much draft equity and draft capital spent at the onesies positions and a significant tier. Like, what happens if Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase miss time to this lineup?
Yeah, but I do want to say I don't like Judy either, but the way he built it to get Flacco too makes it make a lot of sense.
If there is upside there, he does have a good contingency plan. I agree. But I feel like you spent too much capital at the quarterback position here, especially with Joe Burrow typically falling an entire round. Now, obviously, you had to secure it once again because you invested in both of these wide receivers. But what makes you stand out against the other, you know, out of 140,000 lineups, there's going to be at least 60 to 70,000 lineups that have the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins lineup. So I think what would make you stand out is getting Joe Burrow at a value and you didn't. So it's a B for me. It's solid work. It's not great. It's not bad. It's tough to get an A+ in one of these lobbies because everybody in these lobbies, especially in this community, are incredibly sharp. We got a question here. from Clint. He says, "Sup guys, quick keeper question, please. 12 men, full PPR, one keeper from last year. I can have Bucky Irving in round 12, whom you love, and we never got to that, or Knicks in round 17 of this year's upcoming draft. What say you, Jen?" So I'm personally going to say Bucky Irving in round 12 because I anticipate a return on investment at that draft capital. The reason why I don't like him in round 2 or 3 is because I don't think you're going to get a positive return on investment. I think he's at an inflated value currently, but with round 12 capital, hell yeah. What say you? Bo Nix or Bucky?
It's Bucky Irving, but I feel like the fact that he put these two together, because it looks obvious if it's one QB, makes me think it's super flex that he didn't specify. Then it's a little more.
Clint, if you could come back to us and specify if it's super flex.
If it's super flex is closer, super flex. I'd still go Bucky because you only keep one player.
Yeah.
It's not like a dynasty, so I'm still going Bucky there.
Especially with the round 12 equity. Hell yeah, I'm smashing that all day. Like in Dynasty, I got Bucky everywhere, and I'm happy with that. I'm just trying to sell high. It's one QB. Yeah, it's definitely Bucky, buddy. Carla says, "Hi, everyone. Just here to say hi." Well, Carla, I had such a fun time being interviewed by you yesterday. It was such a wonderful experience. Your introduction, I might need to clip it because it was very heartwarming and an incredible introduction, and you lied about 90% of the things you said, but God bless you. That was a wonderful introduction and a really good show. Thank you so much for spotlighting the 24-hour Draftathon. I really do appreciate you, Carla. Yeah, Carla's wonderful. All right, let's look at the next lineup. You ready?
Yeah, did you want me to say why I like Bucky or not?
Hell yeah, go for it. Sorry.
All right, so I just think Bucky's a really good running back. You look at last year, he ranked first in yards after contact per attempt among running backs with 100-plus carries. He also ranked fourth in yards after catch per reception among running backs with 30-plus catches. You look in the playoffs, he out-touched Rachaad White 19-3. Now, I know that was with Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen's gone, but they did an in-house replacement, the Bucs did, at offensive coordinator. I think Bucky's going to continue to dominate touches in the backfield. I know Sean Tucker's good. He'll sprinkle in. But, I mean, David Montgomery sprinkles in with Jahmyr Gibbs. It's not like everyone – like there's always going to be another running back sprinkling in to some degree. I love the offense with the Bucs, and I think Bucky Irving's here to stay.
I cannot disagree with anything you said, but have you considered potentially that Rachaad White did play injured quite a bit, especially down the stretch, and that's why there was such a discrepancy in snap share?
I mean, it's possible, but like Irving.
No. It's like definitively he was playing through several.
But even when he's healthy, Rachaad White, he's nothing like he's a good receiver, but he's not explosive or anything. Bucky could still do good as a receiver, but be a much more shifty, elusive runner who can generate more after contact.
You could be right. That's why I like this. We don't have to agree, but we are going to be the ultimate politically correct Canadians and respect each other's opinions and just be like, okay, we'll see. Oh my God, it was such an honor for me. I can send it to you, and no lies were told. Thank you, Carla. I appreciate you. Our Carla, let me find out. Disco, I'm happily married, man. Look, happily married. Fuck out of here, Bing King. Jesus Christ. What's up, Bing King? Good to see you, buddy. Evening, Carla says, James just says hi to all the wives. God bless James. By the way, good call on not accepting a ride from James. I don't know if you've ever been.
I went in his car last year. He's a great driver.
Are you fucking lying to me?
He rips it, I think.
He does rip it. I mean, hey, some people like to go fast. I like to arrive alive. That's my goal, and I don't feel like that's an option. It's like a 50-50 split with James for sure. 3692 for Mossy. He goes Kyler Murray, Drake May, and Russell Wilson. Okay. Josh Jacobs, I bet you wanted him. Are you in on Josh Jacobs this year, by the way?
I'm like neutral on him. I think he's fine where he goes. Solid pick, especially if you went like receiver, and you want a running back with a track record, good volume.
Yeah, I love Josh Jacobs.
He's solid. I'm not like heavily targeting him, but I have nothing bad to say.
I feel like the touchdown efficiency is going to be all the way there, but we could get into that later. Isaiah Pacheco, who's a major avoid for me, but a lot of people, especially at the Expo, really like him. Ramondre, Austin Eckler, Sean Tucker, and DJ Giddens, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Cooper Kupp, Joshua Palmer, Kyle Williams. So,
oh, nice.
So it was Kyle Williams correlated with Drake May, Darius Slayton, Jordan Whittington, correlation with Trey McBride and Kyler Murray and Jonnu Smith. So what say you here? And Mossy's a very, very sharp drafter, and he's been a very good member of the community. So, yeah, what say you?
Okay, so like that he paired Kyler with McBride and May with Kyle Williams. I would have probably went Jackson Dart instead of Russell Wilson because I do think Jackson Dart's going to start at some point this season, because just the Giants' schedule is ridiculous if you look at the first even 10 games. So, like, if they're 3-7, I mean, what incentive do they have to continue playing Russ? Just see what Dart can do. And Dart can run, and I like what I saw from him in preseason. So I would have went with him as QB3.
Now, what's to say that they won't play Jameis Winston instead?
I feel like if they bench Russ, it's to see what they have in their first round or give.
I respect that, and that's a thought I'm looking at as well, and especially like the way I look at it with the week 8 and week 14 bye, you can afford taking the gamble on the higher upside play like Jackson Dart. So please keep cooking because you are cooking.
Yeah, so Jacob's solid. Pacheco I liked earlier in the offseason. He was going on drafters like at 100, and I like taking shots on him there. But now he's been steamed up, and I know last year he wasn't as good because he's coming off the injury, but can we guarantee that he's going to completely return to previous form? I don't know, but I see the appeal. Stevenson could get red zone carries, decent look, round out the running back room. Austin Eckler was solid last year. He could give you a couple usable weeks, still could catch a few passes, good offense. I love Sean Tucker as an upside play. DJ Giddens as well. A lot of people like. You look at the receivers, Chris Olave, love him. Lamb, obviously, he's Lamb. I'm not a big McLaurin guy because, he had an outlier year for touchdowns, like way more than previous career. I think he like doubled previous career high. And obviously the holdout. Not that the holdout will make McLaurin miss time, but he's missed a lot of camp. When he comes back, he could have a slow start.
Yep.
Josh Palmer, I like too. I like how he got a couple veteran receivers that won't just be zeros. Like if you were to take a risk on a rookie, like Palmer and Slayton, they could give you a couple usable weeks to help you out, insulate against the risk that Kyle Williams maybe disappoints. But what was it? I think I'd give it. It's tough. You know what? I think I'd give it a B, and maybe just because of the RB2 and downward. I don't see the same upside. Whereas the other previous team, I think Henderson's got a lot of upside, and so does Hampton. Even though I don't really like him, I get the appeal. I don't think Pacheco will be this huge smash pick, and then the rest are just rock solid, and Tucker could be a 0 if he doesn't, even though I like him. I'm just saying, like the criticism, but it's solid. I would give it a B. I'm just saying why it's not a B+.
I'm going to give this an A- simply because I think Josh Jacobs is the perfect floor play, and then you have 5 other running backs that need to finish as a top 15 running backs. And even though there's a long shot for it to happen with this group of names, if it does happen, you have at least 3 to 4 consistent top 10 to top 15 wide receivers on a weekly basis, especially with the spike weeks fill-ins that you have here. You have the tight end one, and who I project to be a top 15 fantasy football player in general in Trey McBride here. I love the upside that you built here. I love the thought process behind this lineup. This is an A- for me, and I love this draft. It's really, really good work. All right, let's look at Mount Mutombo. You still in here? Hi, James. I'm JK. Ask Sleez. I got there safely. I know no harm done, my friend. He is my brother from another. Hell yeah. Thanks for the fun draft, boys. Thank you, Mossy. Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you, Mossy. Okay. Let's look at your team. Let's look at my team, and then we'll round it out.
Okay.
I'm a 0 on Pacheco, pedestrian talent coming back from an injury. No thanks. Yeah, give me Elijah Mitchell or Brashad Smith. And I'm not very invested in either one of them. All right, let's look at your lineup, and then we'll go through mine at the end there. And you go 2-6-10-2. Love the roster construction. Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love. Jameer, I go again on my own. Jameer Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, whom I love. Marshawn Lloyd. So 2 correlation pieces with your running backs, Brashard Smith and Marshawn Lloyd, to go with Patrick Mahomes and Jordan Love. A+ quarterback room, A+ running back room. So far, so good. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who you asked for to be on the thumbnail, and we had a long back and forth about JSN, and we are both pro JSN, and I respect the hell out of you for being one of those guys. Xavier Worthy, whom I believe his floor is top 10. You'd think he's got good upside. He's correlated with Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Waddle. You got Matthew Golden correlated with Jordan Love. I love your first 4 wide receivers. A lot of spike week hitters, and I believe your glue guy is actually JSN. Brandon Ayuk, should he come back, I think after week 6, it's going to be a ramp up, but there's going to be weeks where he can spike. So down the stretch, especially when you need that depth piece, Brandon Ayuk could definitely be serviceable. More correlation with Romeo Doubs, Dante Thornton, Jalen Noel, Jalen Coker, Ray McLeod, Travis Kelce also correlated with your 4 levels of correlation with KC. I love that for you. And Dallas Goedert. Would you consider taking Luke Musgrave as a tight end 3? Instead of like a Ray McLeod?
The thing that I did with Ray McLeod in a full PPR, he could just have if you have one of those weeks where maybe you have a bunch of buys or early in the season, if Darnell Mooney misses time, maybe McLeod, you luck into like a 7 for 68 kind of game, and then he could crack your lineup. He's just a veteran that's to round out the room. Like, look at my receivers right above him. We got Thornton, who's got some training camp buzz, but hey, he could be a 0. Jalen Noel, good prospect, but he's buried on the depth chart. He could be nothing.
I love that you say Noel and not Noel. I've been so
Noel.
No, I've been so Americanized that I've been saying Noel lately, but it is Noel.
Yeah, it's probably Noel, but anyway.
No, it is Noel. You're right.
And then Jalen Coker, again, training camp buzz, and I think he could be the receiver 2, but there's a chance he's the receiver 4. So there's a chance that those guys just are not giving me anything. So I wanted a vet like McLeod to, especially with his perfect format for him, full PPR, to just round that out for me. I usually get 3 QBs and 3 tight end, but played it a little different this time.
I respect it. It's important to be contrarian, not just in the players that you target, but also the roster construction. I will say with Darnell Mooney's current injury, Raymond McLeod could ultimately be a wide receiver 2, and you're getting him for free. So I love that for you. I'm going to give this draft it's got the floor of a B+, and it's got the ceiling of an A. I really like this draft. I do wish there was a little bit like Brandon Ayuk kind of being your 5th piece here. Has me a little concerned. I wish it was a different name. So if I'm looking here, and I look at Brandon Ayuk, what other wide receivers were there?
I think
Palmer, Kyle Williams, Trey Harris, like all these guys have a chance. Demario Douglas, all these guys have a chance to give you, because you're really betting on your first 4 guys to just be everything and anything for you until Ayuk comes back. Even then, it's a slow ramp up. So it's definitely all ceiling, and that's what wins these tournaments. So I love that for you. It's a good build.
I do want to say a couple things. One, Marshawn Lloyd, I like a lot as a backup running back, and not only that he's with the Packers, but it's good because he could catch, like if he works out well, he could be a good receiver out of the backfield, work with Love in that way. Same thing, like Brashard Smith's probably going to be a total 0, but like if he works out and he's their new Jerick McKinnon, Mahomes throwing a touchdown at, we've seen that with him and McKinnon.
Yep.
Who knows? So that was just a dart throw there.
Well, but Brashard Smith, that's the bet I've been making with him, and that's the investment I've been making. I think this run game is going to be terrible, and I think we're going to have to see Patrick Mahomes put up 50 passing touchdowns and 5,000 passing yards to even compete this year, because I don't think getting by 3 points in, 7 or 8 games this year, I don't think that's going to cut it for them. He's going to need to be in a lot of shootouts, so I'm not invested in the Isaiah Pacheco's. So the logic of the Jerick McKinnon role, that's why I have an absurd amount of Brashard Smith. And I also like that Elijah Mitchell could be the more explosive back in the group as well. And I'm not drafting Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it.
And one more thing about Ayuk, it's just like, I know it's a torn ACL, and he's probably not going to be what he was 2 years ago, obviously.
It's also the patella.
Yeah, true. Good point. It just, I think, in the playoff weeks, he can, at least give receiver 2 value, like top 24.
You're talking to somebody who was very pro Ayuk until we got the news.
And then I felt like getting Romeo Doubs as a veteran who at least he's on the field all the time. He'll spike a couple weeks. He could help, keep me afloat while Ayuk gets ramped up.
I'm curious where Royals went here. Where did Jalen Royals go?
Yeah, good call. I was curious there
Yeah,
too.
Royals went in round 18, and then what would you consider Tyquan Thornton as like a round 20 flyer instead of a Raymond McLeod, just as a correlation piece?
No, because I like McLeod in full PPR. He gets those
I
little.
respect it. Hey, I respect it. You stood on business. You got your guy. It's always just good to have different conversations. All right. So, what would you grade yourself?
Honestly, I like this team a lot. I'm giving myself an A. I usually like every team that I do, but sometimes less than others. Like I'll be like, oh damn, I should have. Maybe I screwed up. Oh, I didn't, because I don't like having two QBs with the same buy, even if I have three QBs.
Yeah.
Little things like that. I'm like, ah, shit, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But this one, you look, there's not too many of the same buy. Maybe a tight end. I could have gotten a third one, like you were saying, but I just feel like because Kelsey's attached with Mahomes, like if he goes well, like if he does well, and then if that Chief stack pays off, I wouldn't need a third tight end because I think Goddard's just a rock solid tight end too with upside.
Yeah, he's like the Jacoby Myers of tight ends.
Yeah.
I know. I like the build. It's good. Once again, I said floor of B plus, ceiling of A. So it's really really good build. This is definitely has a chance to not just be in the money, but also win money. So I like that lineup for you. Obviously, things have to happen, but that's just fantasy football, right? All right, here's my lineup. I go with a 2-7-8-3 roster construction. Caleb Williams with the 117th overall pick. He fell tremendously, and I got Trevor Lawrence. I don't believe I have any correlation with Caleb Williams. Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Caleb Johnson, Aaron Jones, Braylon Allen. So I double tapped the New York Jets running game. I got Rashad White and Jarquez Hunter. I got Brian Thomas Jr., Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Trey Harris, Wan'Dale Robinson, Isaac Tesla, and Amari Cooper as my wide receivers. So I got correlation with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. I got Tyler Warren, Mason Taylor, and Cade Otton. What say you?
All right. So looks like you took Caleb because of the value, which I like it. Like if Caleb's got a great
I didn't know that Burden went here at 150, and I was hoping to get the stack. But please
still good. And I like how you paired Lawrence with Brian Thomas. Jonathan Taylor got upside. I'm not huge on Breece Hall, but you got both of them. And if that works out, it means they have a really good running game, and it could be like a Gibbs Monty thing. And that could be contrarian. Like you're just talking about being contrarian. Most people don't double tap on the same backfield. So
yeah,
like that's a cool. That's a good move. Did you get? No, you got Caleb Johnson right at ADP, but I feel like he's falling a little bit as ADP's gone down.
So which is why I'm investing now.
Yeah, you're buying the dip, which I like that because, those negative reports that came out like after week 1, like he didn't look as good or pass protection issues. Aaron Jones is underappreciated. Everyone's all into.
I got him at a 13 pick dip.
Yeah, I like that. Not huge on Rashad White, but hey, he's a vet, and Jarquez Hunter, dart throw, swing for the fence. You stood on business with your reach on Brian Thomas. Hey, just like I reached on JSN, not as big of a reach as you, but I like when we talk about like our my guys and then we draft them. I don't like when I see someone say my guy and they pass on. Like,
I love when guys are like, my guy is Travis Hunter, but I only have 5% of Travis Hunter. Shout out.
Yeah, that's why. Like I have crazy amounts of JSN, like 40% in this. So anyways, I'm not huge on Tyreek Hill, but if it pays off, that could end up being a steal. I like Josh Downs a lot. Trey Harris, you sniped me there because he's someone who's really like not getting buzz right now, and they just signed Keenan Allen. It's just like perfect time, buy the dip, and maybe like if he's good, and he'll give you some spikes. The Wan'Dale Robinson, nice vet to keep you afloat. Tesla is getting great reviews in camp. Amari Cooper, I'm just worried. Like it's late now. Like when the hell is this guy gonna sign?
I honestly, I don't care if he signs week 16. When he signs, he has the upside, and he has better upside than pretty much any other wide receiver in that range, in my opinion. I think Ty Felton would have been another good selection, another good choice. But there wasn't another wide receiver who I could have gotten a correlation. Maybe a Parker Washington, but I don't want a Parker Washington. It limits my ceiling.
Yeah, and Tyler Warren, hey, one of my favorite tight end picks. I'm going to be all over that, especially in redraft. Have a lot of them on drafters. It's just Dominant in his last year at college. I think he could be a focal point of the Colts passing game. We already saw signs of it in preseason. And Tyler Warren rushed for 200 plus rushing yards in his final season. What if they give him, some trick play, like a Taysom Hill kind of carry here and
He's
there?
the best quarterback they have.
And yeah, like he's a stud. I think he's going to. Like, there's a reason the Colts were so excited that he fell to them.
Yeah.
They have huge plans for Tyler Warren. I mean, Mason Taylor could be the number 2 target. I mean, if you don't count Breece Hall into that. So worth a shot. But I love what you did there because you have 2 rookies and you backed them up with a veteran who, when he was called upon to more action, Cade Auden, he performed.
And
I know everyone's healthy again, but the fact that he did it should be worth praising. So I like that backup plan. I'll give you a B. I'll give you a B just because I wished you got someone with Caleb Williams as a pairing. But
yeah, I mean, fantasy football dad hit it here. He said maybe taking Kmet in the last round. I considered it. I just much rather get another upside play, especially with a 3 tight end room like a Cade Otton when we know he could spike and be a top 5 tight end when the other 2 wide receivers miss. But that's great. Week. Someone please explain to me why Blue is going 40 to 50 picks earlier than Shipley, Lloyd, Ford, Garendo, Algier, because he has an opportunity to start.
Yeah, that's why.
I think that's the difference between him and all the other guys. All the other guys are all handcuff contingents. Week running, Cowboys should be and will be pass out. Yeah. All right. So our guy from Fanspeak Network, Steve-O Speak, is live right now. So hold on. Got to mute here. Got to copy their link. Frank, it was an absolute honor and an absolute that's a big zoom in. It was an absolute honor and absolute privilege to have you here. Join us on this show. It's always a pleasure to chop it up and talk ball with you. I enjoy picking your brain. I think you're one of the sharpest minds here. Obviously, you are somebody who I admire and I respect a heck of a lot. So thank you so much for not just blessing me with your knowledge, but also blessing the rest of the community. Thank you so much for coming. Do you have anything that you'd like to tell the folks once again who weren't here for the introduction, how they could find your work, where they could support you, and all that good stuff?
First of all, it was a lot of fun. I love coming and drafting with you. Talking football with you is great. I respect you too. I like how you're bold and then you stand on your stand. Like you took Brian Thomas 4th overall. You rank him really high. You take him really high. Love that. My work you could find at Rotoballer, Fantasy Pros, Pro Football Network. If you're into betting, bunch of sites there too. It's all in my X bio, and I put a lot of little tidbits, tweeting out little bits of information about football players to get you ready for fantasy football drafts. Look forward to joining you on the stream, the 24-hour stream next week. And thanks again for having me.
My pleasure, guys. If you guys could head over here, that's our good friend Steve-O Speak. He's on the Fanspeak Network. They do a bunch of good best ball stuff, underdog, you name it. They got the best ball Jeopardy going on, and I met them at the expo. Fantastic people. Please head over there. You don't even have to hit him with a disco raid. Just go smash a sub. Like, he's good people, high quality people. He'll also be on the 24-hour Draftathon. It's been a slice, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night for tomorrow's Friday. We'll see you tomorrow night for Friendship Friday, guys. I've lost track of days. God bless you. I love you guys. Until next time, which is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Peace.